Hey everybody, welcome to Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. I am Eric, your humble malt muser. Up on the bar for today, I have a review of Longrow Red, 13 years old, Chilean Cabernet Sauvignon matured. Ooh, that's a lot. All right, as always here on the channel, nose taste finish review of this whiskey coming right up. I'll tell you a bit about the value, give you my final thoughts, final score, and as always, leave you with a malt musing. But first, if you've yet to, take a second, hit that subscription button. That'll make sure you don't miss any of these reviews. They're coming out every Friday here on YouTube, and also keep you in the loop for happy hours on Tasty Tuesdays, every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, Longrow. This actually comes out of the Springbank distillery. Springbank has 3 different lines that come out of their Campbelltown, famous Campbelltown distillery. They have a regular Springbank, which is lightly peated. They have the Hazelburn, which is triple matured. And they have Longrow, which is their more heavily peated line. And they actually come right here in Springbank bottles. It is embossed right on here, same shape, basic minimalist design. This one in particular, as I mentioned, this is peated. It is 13 years old, 51.6% ABV. And this red series in particular is essentially, they've been doing them for a couple of years now. Different types of wine finishes that they are doing with the Longrow distillate. This, as it says right here on the back, it is non-chill filtered and it is natural color. This one in particular, it is matured for 10 years in a mix of bourbon barrels and refill sherry hogsheads. So you got bourbon and sherry going at it here. And then you have the additional 3-year maturation in the Cabernet Sauvignon barrels from the place at the foot of the Andes Mountain in Chile. So there you go. Here's the box. Very similar to all of them. They look exactly like this with the red label for the red series, and a bit on the back just about the Springbank distillery and J&A Mitchell, who owns the distillery. Essentially, they do everything over the old world way. You're always going to get unchill filtered whiskey. You're always going to get natural color whiskey. They do their own floor malting of their barley, et cetera, et cetera. Very traditional place. Now, for this untraditional Scotch whiskey, let's get it in the glass, see what we got. Okay, here is the color that we're looking at. You can definitely tell that there has been a sherry wine in this. In the nose, you can smell it already. All right, let's dive in. Really interesting nose. So at first it's you get some softness, soft red fruits. I'm thinking strawberry. But behind that, darker red fruits. Stewed, like stewed fruit almost, raspberry. There's some currant, raisins, so even darker. Juicy berries. There's also an unmistakable pickled ginger spice, like the kind of ginger you get with your sushi. Giving it some kind of brightness, some spice, a little bit of a pickled sour note. Going deeper still, you get a bit of the bourbon cask, showing up mostly as a light brown sugar and a caramel. Just a lot going on here. So yeah, top line's really sweet, slightly sour, and then you get a nice spice hit. Okay, let's give this a taste. Slotchy y'all. Heavy body. Pretty oily, it's pretty viscous. Bourbon cask shows up a lot more initially on this. You're getting more of that caramel, the vanilla, a little bit of butterscotch. But then you get a really kind of a drying from the Cabernet, which is working in tandem with kind of a cinnamon spice and again that ginger note. Takes you into a medium long finish, which is dry, a bit spicy, a bit tannic. Some of that lingering kind of blackberry currant fruit thing going on. Not bad at all. Okay, 51.6%. We are definitely going to put a few drops of water on this just to see what else we get. Great nose. It's almost confectionery. It's almost like a dessert. That peat is just in the background, giving it a little bit of an ashiness, a little bit of that effervescence, as well as that ginger note. Again, the sweet fruits, even getting more orange rind, orange peel, maybe even a hint of lemon citrus on this now. So it's picked up the citric note a bit. A bit more balanced. Not as heavy on the bourbon notes up front. Still, though, it develops sweet fruits. There's an herbalness, which is kind of giving it a bitter edge, and then that dry red fruit, the tannicness of the Cabernet barrels, and that ginger note, leading it into a medium long finish. Okay. There's a nice ashy smoke in there on the back. Really kind of bringing this all together. Okay, a bottle of the Longrow Red 13-year-old Cabernet Sauvignon from Chile. Is it a rare whiskey? No. Is it easy to get your hands on? Not necessarily. I think they maybe do, there's 9,000 bottles in this. So you can find them at some of your better liquor stores. If you do, you're going to find this right around $140 to $150 average here in the US. So it's a bit pricey, but you are getting a cask strength, or basically cask strength whiskey here. It is very much an integrity bottling with that non-chill filtration, natural color. And of course, it isn't cheap to really age whiskey like this in the Chilean Cabernet casks. I'm going to give this a medium value. So the value on this, right around the middle, a little bit pricey, but kind of what you would expect for something like this, specifically out of Springbank. Okay, final thoughts. I'm a big fan of this red series from Longrow. They, in addition to these Cabernet Sauvignons, they have a Pinot Noir cask. They have a Malbec. Some of those are a little bit harder to find than others. There's a few others out there. All really enjoyable, interesting whiskeys to try for sure. This one in particular, definitely a bit more, it's simultaneously kind of maybe a little bit more on the simpler side, and also at the same time, not a beginner whiskey, in that there's some bitter notes in here that I think you really have to want in order to fully enjoy this if you like a nice dry tannic whiskey. It's got great character, very well done whiskey for sure. I'm enjoying this for the most part. The bitterness does kind of overpower a little bit on the end, and it's kind of taking a bit away. We'll see what happens. This oxidizes even more in the bottle here. But all in all, a very solid, strong release from the Longrow folks, and another great addition to the red line of their single malts. So my final score on this is going to be I'm going to give this a solid 3.5 out of 5. So definitely recommend trying this. This might be a whiskey that you would absolutely love. Again, not exactly a beginner malt. They do have a regular Longrow. Might be a good place to start if you're interested in getting into these kind of Campbelltown peated whiskey line that is Longrow. But yeah, if you're a big fan of wine casks mixed with peat, this might be the one for you. So keep your eyes out for it. Give it a try, and if you enjoy it, grab a bottle. Okay, so that 3.5 out of 5 for the Longrow Red 13-year Cabernet Sauvignon matured Chilean Cabernet Sauvignon. And with that, I will head you guys over to your malt musing, and we will catch you next time here on Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. Cheers, everybody.